Hello, boys and girls. It's that guy whose face was made for radio. Once again, my name is SidAlpha, and we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different tonight. We're going to be, as soon as I can find my mouse cursor, this new 2 monitor setup is a lot easier for a lot of things, but at the same time, it's a little bit more complicated. First off, because I'm not used to the height and the level of everything, and I've got the actual microphone boom actually mounted to one of the arms that's holding up one of the monitors, so it's a little bit awkward. It's going to take some getting used to the new setup, but it's making life so much easier. And holy crap, my hair is fucked up. Yeah, that's what happens when you're bored off your ass all day in an all day long meeting. Holy shit, guys, that's what I had to deal with today. That's quite literally what I had to deal with today. Today was a meeting. One. Singular. Uno. Non-plural. That's it. When I showed up at work until I left, which was an hour and a half after I normally leave work, was all one big long meeting. Holy fuck. I was so bored. Oh my god, so bored. It was horrible. But it's over now. It's over. It's over. I'm home. I've been home for a couple of hours. I watched some Twitch. Watched some role playing on Twitch, and so I got to mellow out and relax watching some Jade Regent over at AP Gaming Reels channel. And good game. You know, he's got Dave Traeger on there and a few other favorites. He's also got Craig, which is on also on Skulls and Shackles, which I am on, and it's a good game. They're good role players. It's an interesting time. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, you should probably check it out. Tuesday nights, twitch.tv/APGamingReel. You should also check out Words English, speak them. Yes, you should also check out Skulls and Shackles, the Pathfinder campaign that yours truly is a part of, on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/APGamingReel. That would be a thing you should do. That's not the point of why I'm here, though. No, here I'm actually attempting to continue my relaxation. And I know I was supposed to do a video for you guys tonight, and I was planning on doing a Is It Worth It video. But quite frankly, looking through the new releases on Steam and everything, it's one of those things where you really don't want to do a review on a game, because then you would be calling attention to the fact that it exists and that it is a blight on the anus of humanity and should not be granted such honors as being acknowledged as even existing. And I felt that even doing a negative Is It Worth It review would be giving the game far too much justice. So I decided to just not do one. Not do one tonight, because damn, these things are fucking awful. Absolutely awful. I've purchased like 5 indie titles in an attempt to find one that's at least passable enough to be able to do a first impressions review on, and fucking Jesus, tap dancing Christ, what a waste of money. All of them. Bane on humanity. Holy shit, I've wasted like $40 trying to find a halfway decent title. It didn't happen. And I'm not going to be one of those people that just constantly pisses on everything, you know. I'm really not. That's not what I'm about. I try to bring awareness and improve awareness as far as video games go, but constantly bashing on things all the time is just way too negative for me. It really is. I try to be when you get older, you try to be a little bit more positive, because you know where things are going, and being negative all the time isn't necessarily the best way to go about things, and all this other pedantic bullshit. Where was I going with this? Oh, that's right. I was going to be doing something a little bit special for you guys. We're going to try something new here. And this is going to be story time with SidAlpha. Yeah. And this is going to be something where, because it's one thing that a lot of us old folk tend to enjoy doing, is to tell you young folk stories. And, you know, being I've been around and I've done quite a few things, I actually do have a fair amount of fairly interesting stories. So I decided, in the spirit of winter, in the spirit of snow on the ground, which is actually really weird because it was raining all day and now it's snowing like there's no tomorrow. Confusing as fuck. But I figured I would tell a winter story. Yes, very much so. Yeah, oh yes. And this one begins actually not too long ago. I believe it was November 2015. Oh yes, yes, quite so. Oh, so much fun. There was a bleary-eyed, exhausted SidAlpha who was doing what he normally does upon such a morning, and he was transporting himself to work, which was rather an ordeal unto itself, you see, because his work, no matter which of the two offices that he tends to migrate towards, it is almost precisely 1 hour drive each way, door to door. Going from home to work is an hour, going from work to home is another hour. It's all rather magnificent chore that one has to deal with. It's commuting. I believe he was performing a commute. Yes, it was very much a commute. And as it was fairly early on in the winter, one of the largest freezes and snowfall, it was being slightly more cautious than usual, as one would typically do until they grow accustomed to being able to drive on such roads again. And the highways were actually perfectly clear, but knowing as he does human nature, SidAlpha, as he normally does, tended to assume that everyone was going to be a complete fucking moron, which was very much the case, and so he was quite accurate in making such a prediction. Everyone was indeed a complete and utter idiot, and so he decided to drive with four-wheel drive turned on, four-wheel drive engaged in the vehicle that he was commuting with, in order to traverse the full hour worth of driving that it takes to get from home to work. And he was just fine for the vast majority of the way. Open highway, no one near him. Ran into a few stoplights, had to stop, no problem, no sliding whatsoever. The roads seemed perfectly fine. Until he started to get back into heavier traffic. The city, that is about 45 minutes-ish drive from door to outskirts. And the road started deteriorating, and sitting there driving along. I'm just driving along. I'm just going to drop the whole facade here and just tell you guys the story straight up, because it's getting a little silly. And quite frankly, I'm kind of tired. I mean, I sat literally all fucking day. Sat there in a chair, talking to people. I realize that's somewhat ironic, as now that I get home, that's precisely what I'm doing right now. Yeah, no, fuck it. You guys are a lot more fun than a meeting. So what happened was I started getting closer and closer. I started getting into, a populated area again. And I'm driving along, and it's a four-lane highway with a division in between. So there's a big old ditch, and there's 2 lanes headed southbound, 2 lanes headed northbound. I am, of course, in the southbound lane, going southbound as one would do when traveling south to be able to get to work. And which is precisely what I was doing. So as I was doing so, I'm driving along, I'm looking over, it's like, oh, there's a car in the ditch. Okay. Interesting. Sucks for them. Driving along a little bit more. Oh, there's a car that rear-ended another car. Roads must be starting to get slick over here. That's kind of odd. And I'm driving along for even still another couple of minutes, and I'm like, wow, there's a 4-car pileup over there. Oh shit, I hope everybody's okay. Damn, that looks kind of nasty. And I'm driving along, and I'm coming up on a group of vehicles, a mass, a grouping, a coupling of vehicles, as it were. And I'm driving along as one normally does whilst traveling down a road. And all of a sudden, I see a sea of red light up in front of me, as if the heavens had opened wide, telling me every one of the 12 or so vehicles in front of you is suddenly attempting to come to a violent and sudden and unexplained halt in the middle of the highway, covering both lanes. And myself, even though that I was traveling in a vehicle whilst in four-wheel drive, realized that now is a good time to understand how much trouble you're in. Because you have to understand, people, that a lot of people, rely on four-wheel drive to get around during the winter and things like that, which four-wheel drive is great. It allows you to power through areas where you couldn't normally be able to traverse, and they allow you to get up and going from a stopped position, whereas normally you would not be able to do so without a significant amount of sliding and slipping and things like that. However, there's one very important thing that a lot of people tend to forget. That four-wheel drive does fuck all when you're trying to stop. Absolutely fucking fuck all nothing. And being I was driving in four-wheel drive, I could get up, start, and go just fine. But I'm riding on summer tires, and this road is slicker than snot on glass, and I'm going to be sliding like a motherfucker. And I recognize this immediately as I'm sliding with those fucking power brakes that just grinding away. And I'm coming up on this vehicle far too quickly, and realizing that my stopping point is going to be about 20 yards past where this vehicle actually is, which is a very bad thing because I'm going to meet this vehicle during that process. So I decide, you know what? Shit. So I pop it over onto the shoulder, thinking, oh, they got the shoulder here. That's all right. I can get around this. No problem. All right. I'm still grinding and grinding as I'm just pressing down on the fucking brake as hard as I can. And the damn thing is resisting me, trying to prevent me from locking up the tires, which is precisely what I want to fucking do. And it won't let me because, heaven forbid, you lose traction, which I don't give a flying fuck about traction at this point. And so I'm grinding away fucking on the shoulder, and then another vehicle is about to hit a vehicle in front of them, and they do the same thing. They get in the shoulder in front of me, except I am traveling much faster than them thanks to my anti-lock fucking brakes, who refuse to slow me enough. And even more drastic is, it's a fucking cop. That's right, it is a police vehicle, light bar and everything, painted, signed, everything, police truck in front of me that is slowing down to a stop, and now I am in the exact same situation with the cop car that I was with the vehicle that I just passed about 30 or so feet back. Now I'm coming up on this cop truck, because it is a truck. It is a fucking Chevrolet pickup that has been, painted. It is a cop car. It has light bar, all that fun shit. It's got the fucking spotlight and everything. It's got the whole 9 yards. It is a police vehicle. And I am doing the exact same thing, just grinding away on those fucking anti-lock brakes, because fuck those goddamn things. Oh my god, I wish I could rip them out of that vehicle. I would do it right now if I could. And I'm just coming up on this guy like faster than hell. And I see his face in his background mirror. Of course I can't see him too well, but he's clearly looking in his rearview mirror and seeing me just barrel straight up on him. And not slowly, just like that. And he knows that my stopping point is somewhere around 20 or so yards past where his vehicle currently is, and we're somehow magically going to meet in the middle of that, and we'll both end up at that final meeting. at that final point, whereas my vehicle will be trying to get through his in order to reach said destination. And so I realize I'm in a bit of a pickle. Just a little bit of a pickle. Because now there's a semi fucking next to me on this side. There's a giant downgrade ditch off to the side here. And it's not just a few feet. No, it's like 10 fucking feet down. And then out into a field. Like, if I go off the fucking road, I'm stuck there, sitting there waiting for a tow truck. But the only other realistic alternative is to kiss the back end of a cop car, which is not really something I'm willing to do, because it makes it my fault, and I don't want that to happen. So I was like, you know what? This thing's been pretty good to me so far. Four-wheel drive has been pretty awesome. It's handled pretty low. It's handled pretty well. Fuck it, let's do it. And so I take my foot off the brake, I slam on the gas, I pitch the damn thing over to the ditch, and so I'm driving like this as I zoom past the cop car on his right hand, on his passenger side, passing him on the right while I'm driving in the ditch like this. I cannot see his face because the panel of my door is actually blocking his windows from my view because I'm tilted up like this. And I shoot on past him, bounce the vehicle back out onto the shoulder, come to a screeching stop. And I immediately whip off my fucking belt, my seat belt. I pop out of the car at the exact same time the cop jumps out of his truck, and I see his eyes. His eyes were just wide as fucking dinner plates. Just the largest, widest eyes I've ever seen on a human being in the history of ever. And I know that when he looked at me, he saw the exact same fucking thing. The wide eyes, the widest eyes you could ever imagine on a human being on the face of this earth ever. And we both look at each other and somehow we both say at the exact same fucking time, "Are you alright?" And so here we are, two vehicles, me almost narrowly missing a couple of different wrecks. I end up stopped on the shoulder in front of the vehicle I almost hit the back of, and we're both stopped there, perfectly normal, perfectly straight in the shoulder, whilst everyone else who managed to slip and slide, and there were a couple that were actually spinning in circles. Somehow the entire morass of like 12 to 14-ish vehicles somehow miraculously avoided any of them crashing into each other at all. And as such, after me and the cop jumped out and said, "Are you alright?" to each other, we stopped, realized the ridiculousness of everything that had just happened, had a good laugh, and assured each other, he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Wow, that was fucking awesome." I climbed back into my vehicle and drove the remaining 1 minute and 45 seconds that it took for me to get to work. And I had no further issues. However, I heard a lot of sirens out there. There were a lot of wrecks that day. And I feel really bad about it. But one other very, very... Actually, it was kind of fun for me instance where I narrowly managed to avoid a disastrous accident by sheer force of relying on the steel underneath my butt and relying on my own ability to kick things around. Because when you're dealing with such an angle in a vehicle like that, you know, I fully expected to just slide on down and be stuck. But the damn thing had enough power to be able to keep me gripped to the edge tight enough to be able to kick it back out onto the pavement. And it was fantastic, it was amazing, and probably not something I could ever fucking repeat in a million years. So, there we go, guys. There's story time with SidAlpha. And that was the one real instance which I had a fairly narrow escape from getting into a multi-car accident this winter. That's not the only time that something like that has happened to me in the past. But this one was the most interesting because it was actually the first near miss that I've had where I was actually in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. And also the first near miss that I've ever had that a police vehicle was involved. At least in the potential accident part. I have other stories about other near misses where there was a cop car nearby and some hilarity ensued. But maybe we'll hold that off for a later date. Maybe this is something I might do whenever there's no games even worth mentioning or even deserving mentioning, and there's nothing really honestly really going on with Star Citizen, because right now there's really not. Okay, the 2.1 it's on the live server now, and so okay, sure, I'm just waiting for more content. So doing what a lot of other people doing, I'm just hoping to fill the time here, and I hope you guys found the story interesting. I know it was quite the adrenaline jolt for me at the time, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you didn't, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I am SidAlpha, the guy with a face made for radio, and I will see you guys next time.
Hey folks, SidAlpha here. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. If you want to check out some other First Impressions videos, feel free to click on the link on the left. If you're interested in staying more up to date with what's happening in the PC gaming community, feel free to click on the link to your right. The subscribe button is down at the bottom. Please show your support and punch that evil thing as hard as you can. And once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.